Hey everyone, this is Adriana from ROADIE Free Radio. In this clip, Larry talks to Chris Bedry, audio technician for KM Productions and artists such as Jill Scott to Tedeschi Trucks Band. Here, these two talk about Chris's first tour and the difficulties of adjusting to the lifestyle and working with others on a team to achieve a successful concert. If you want to hear more about Chris, make sure to check out the full episode number 173 from July 6, 2020. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subbing. Here are Larry and Chris.
Jumping from K&M, like working a bunch of places, being at a production company, and through that working at all these different places, and then hopping on a tour. Tell me about that, like what it felt like to kind of get your first tour and go out there and like pack the bag and be like, all right, I'm going.
Yeah, probably one of the scariest moments in my career.
Yeah.
I was pretty young when I started touring, and Chip was actually my predecessor in this gig. And he had got the job with Digico, and he had recommended me to Brian and Bobby to do the gig. And I knew my way around D&B audio systems, which is what we were using. I knew my way around Digico consoles pretty well. But it was a whole new world for me. From just living on the road on a tour bus to the way that we do things technically, it was just a whole different world, something that I'd never fathomed before. Working, freelancing around the New York area, you show up to a gig, a truck shows up with some gear in it, and you slap it together whatever way you can. Hopefully they send all the parts to make it happen. And touring is a whole different world. You're putting the same thing together in the same way, in the same order every single day, it's a completely different world than that. And I think that once I got the way of living down and the way of doing a touring load in and load out down, it became second nature. I especially nowadays I can do that in my sleep.
Did you take to it pretty quickly, life on the road?
It definitely took quite a few tours of adjustment. It wasn't something it wasn't something that came easy, especially because I stepped into a role where I wouldn't say I was green, but I would say that I was unexperienced, and certainly not as experienced as Brian and Bobby. And I stepped into a role where Brian and Bobby are two guys who are very meticulous and want things done a certain way, and are used to doing these things their way. This is their gig. It's been their gig for so long. And I'm also one to do things my way. So it took a long time, I think, for us to coexist. And I definitely had to do things their way for quite a while before they trusted me to do things my way.
Yeah.
And so that added to the growing pains of getting out on the road. As opposed to if I were to start touring for an act that just booked the tour, and all these guys on the crew are new to each other, and I was sent out from a sound company, it's easy. It might have been easier for me to adapt in that situation because, you know, all those people are new to each other and they don't necessarily have a way of life down on their gig at that point in time, you know?
Yeah.
So I think because I had to adapt to the way Brian and Bobby wanted things done, it added a bit of growing pains in my situation for sure.
Yeah. Those guys, as you mentioned, they are deep
Yeah.
in the family, as it were, particularly Bobby.
Yeah.
He's probably at Derek and Susan's place right now, patching something, fixing something. What have you learned from those guys?
I had so much, dude. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's probably something new every day. Especially since, you know, since I started getting my gig down with Brian, and I had like more time to really take in what was going on. You know, Bobby is doing mad scientist shit up on that stage a lot of the time, but taking apart, you know, hand wired amplifiers and stuff. And even Ryan too, Susan's guitar tech, you know, I really learned a lot about the backline world from those guys, just observing and helping them out where I can with all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those guys, you know, I know everybody says this about their touring crew, but they really are the best out there. There's no doubt.
Hey, what's happening, roadies? It's Larry here. Just wanted to thank you so much for listening to this short clip. I really hope you got something out of it. If you can take 2 seconds to head over to iTunes and drop us a review or a comment, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Keep listening, keep coming back, stay healthy out there, and remember, no roadies, no rock and roll.